When the campus went virtual, we realized it was important to stay connected with our students. So we created a Zoom that was open for students to come in and act like a virtual Center for Sovereign Nations. Students continued to work regular shift hours in the virtual center along with staff. Each of our student leaders had 3 weekly Zoom conferences with our center director, our assistant director, and our engagement specialist. During these Zooms, we would share how our work lives were and how our classes were going. We also continued to have regular weekly team meetings with the entire crew. We continued to create weekly video newsletters as well as center shorts. We also created social media campaigns so students could share how they were staying centered during the early days of the pandemic when the country was told to stay home. We sought guidance from our sovereign tribal nation partners and our campus partners throughout the pandemic. We continued to host Sovereignty Speaks virtually and post them online. We also hosted virtual visits with OU College of Law faculty as well as tribal law experts regarding the impacts of the McGirt case on tribal sovereignty. Center staff, alumni, and friends participated in a Zoom event where we read portions of the decision and discussed the impacts of the historic case. Due to COVID, we couldn't do our weekly free lunches Not Yet Noon, so we reinvented it and created Not Yet Zoom. We invited all students who had ever attended our in-person Not Yet Noons to join us for an online get-together. We mailed them snacks so they could eat, and it could be just like a virtual Not Yet Noon. We, the students and student leaders, received care packages from the center staff and notes of encouragement and center swag. We celebrated the milestone of hosting over 20,000 visits by sending some of our students and partners things in the mail. The campus partially opened in the summer of 2020, and we were the only student success center to be open to drop-in visits. We also created Bring Your Professor to Zoom. This is where students would recommend professors they really enjoyed. These professors would come into our Zoom and they would talk about their research and what they did in class. It was a great connection tool. The center then partnered with McAllister Public Schools in a program where students would record themselves reading Native American-inspired books or Native American-authored books. These recordings were sent to McAllister Public Schools and were shared with their Native American students virtually. Here's a great example of Miko Brandon reading a Chickasaw book written in the Chickasaw language. We had our first physical Not Yet Noon since COVID-19 on the Life Sciences East lawn. These early Not Yet Noons were socially distanced and had free, pre-packaged lunches. During these COVID-safe Not Yet Noons, we played games like stickball and cornhole, all outside. During these changing times, we created a new Center for Sovereign Nations website. It featured our threefold mission: sovereignty, students, and partnerships. Moving forward, during the fall semester of 2020, we had the pleasure of creating voter registration and absentee voting videos to help with our social media content and everyone in the new elections. Native American Heritage Month in November was a little different than in previous years. We hosted a socially distanced outdoor luncheon in partnership with the Native American Student Association. We played stickball, signed a Proud to Be poster, and were honored by a drum song led by Comanche citizen and OSU grad Keenan Springer. This luncheon kickstarted a social media campaign in which students created original content and original videos explaining why they are proud to be Indigenous. The university sent us students and staff home for Thanksgiving, and we did not return until January 2021. In spring of 2021, we created a social media campaign to encourage each other to take care of our mental and physical health. This was called Love Your Health. This Love Your Health campaign consisted of students submitting videos of themselves, doing their hobbies, playing sports, going fishing, pretty much anything they do outside of campus. We wrapped up the social media campaign with a t-shirt design contest. Many Center students graduated during the pandemic, despite a sudden move to a virtual campus during the spring of 2020 and a restricted hybrid campus in fall of 2020 and spring of 2021. Center students persevered and earned difficult degrees. 70% of these students graduated with STEM degrees, and over half of our students are continuing on to graduate school. These students join a mighty network of Center alumni. In April, the Center team got welcome news when we heard that Dr. Casey Schrum would be OSU's next president. In July, President Schrum became our 19th president. We have long respected Dr. Schrum, and she has been a Center collaborator since our earliest days. We look forward to supporting President Schrum's leadership vision, as it is with pleasure that we welcome her today.